Praise honor and glory to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, YAHWAHAKADASH. Yahweh is the true name of our Almighty Heavenly Father. That's in Paleo Hebrew, and that's in the name of His only begotten Son, which is YAHWASHI, who is our Lord and Savior, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rakakadash, all in Hebrew. Double honor to the elders and apostles, a great millstone for teaching us His truth. Honor to the brothers that's pushing His truth, risking their life and freedom to do so. And also honor to the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of our people who's returning back to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, during these final moments in America, so that He will have mercy on us in the time of judgment. Shalom. Be back with another live lesson through the power of the Holy Spirit. This lesson here, posted up at one of the spots where we're going to do a screen recording. Came across a few videos last night that I wanted to play, just to let you know what Esau, the so-called white man, is up to. And the stuff that these people saying was spiritual because it all goes back to the scriptures. And, you know, Esau always in some mess, doing some dirt against us. So we're going to let these clips play, probably a majority of the lesson. And I'll stop it here and there, to bring out some scriptures. With that being said, we're going to get on with these clips.
Guru, my name is Akile Anai, and I'm the Director of Agitation and Propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party. I want to appreciate the media for uniting to be a part of this press conference that we're having right now at the St. Petersburg Police Department headquarters, where they just finalized their press conference, which we were not allowed to be a part of. I guess public presence was not allowed to participate in this press conference. Neither were questions from the media. But we're here because we want to explain what this is about, what the FBI, what the police have stated as the basis for.
Now, before she continues, she's going to say it, but I'm going to just put it out there so the thought is already in our head for those of us that's listening, and then she explained it more. But pretty much, they part of an African political group. Not the best words to describe it, but it's an international organization. They got, spots here in the U.S. and in Africa and in other parts of the world. They just fight for people of African descent, liberation, freedom, rights, pretty much, getting a story out there. Not like Black Lives Matter, they do way more than them. And pretty much the FBI raided one of their homes. And Esau came in full force. He came with the FBI, they came with drones. And it's pretty much trying to accuse them of working with the enemy, working with Russia, if I'm not mistaken, but we're gonna listen. But pretty much Esau was in the wrong when she get into the details of it.
This so-called investigation, we want to clarify several things. One, that what happened this morning when my car and my personal property was seized from my possession, when they attacked Chairman Amalia Shatella and Deputy Chair Onazanae Shatella in St. Louis, Missouri, where our current headquarters is for the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru movement, when they broke into their homes.
And she's in Florida, the headquarters is in St. Louis. So the FBI hit all their spots at the same time.
Handcuffed our leadership when they went into the Uhuru house here in St. Petersburg, Florida, without issuing a search warrant when they broke down the doors.
Damn.
What do I want? I want to know myself. And
so we want to say that they are characterizing this as some kind of investigation into our affiliation with, Russian foreign governments and things like that. But one, I think that this exposes the crisis that the U.S. imperialism is in. Because the U.S. and other world colonial powers have been collaborating against Russia for early into the early 1900s.
Yeah, she... Damn, what the fuck? I know I'm tired of all these loud vehicles. So they trying to accuse them of working with Russia, but she was like, well, America and its colonial partners been working against Russia, for over 100 years. So America always trying to accuse somebody of something, but the thing America be accusing other people of, they be the ones doing it. And let's continue.
And this is a consequence right now in 2022 that we see the same attack against Russia. And right now, this war with Ukraine, this defensive war in Ukraine that Russia is actually waging against world colonial powers, not Ukraine as a single entity, but the U.S. and all colonial powers who have an interest in colonially dominating African people right here in this country and around the world and extracting resources from the majority of peoples on the planet.
Hey, she said extracting resources from majority of the people on the planet. Esau go to all these countries, stealing their resources, and they pay the people a nickel a day. As a matter of fact, that's why we're gonna get Obadiah real quick. If thieves came to thee as robbers by night, how art thou cut off? So Yahawashi is gonna come to Esau as a thief in the night to cut him off. But this is the focus. Would they not have stolen till they had enough? This is talking about the so-called white man. Verse 1, it tells you that the book of Obadiah is concerning Edom, the so-called white man. And yeah, it's a good question. Would they not have stolen till they had enough? America and its colonialism, what should be America, the European Union, NATO, you know, that seven-headed beast in the book of Revelation, that represents NATO, America and its partners. Would they not have stolen until they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Meaning that if anybody else came stealing and robbing, like the so-called white man, wouldn't they at least leave something? No, America trying to steal up everything and they still won't be satisfied.
System, this current system, is in severe crisis and they cannot rule in the same old way. Right. So that's what we understand, one, about the U.S. government. And the ruling class itself states that imperialism is on the decline. U.S. power is not cyclical, but it is permanent. So that's number one. Number two, the African People's Socialist Party is an organization that has been here for 50 years. It is an international organization that not organizes just here in St. Petersburg, Florida, but right there in St. Louis, Missouri, in Oakland, California, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and all throughout the U.S., in Africa, in Europe. And the history of the African People's Socialist Party is to unite with any forces that unite with the anti-colonial struggle.
So she said that the African Socialist Party, they unite with any people that's anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism. In other words, anti-American. And that's in the scriptures. That's really a wise thing to do. That's why they got a saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Who's America's enemy? Russia, China. So, of course, we side with them. And saying we side with them, that don't mean these people is supporting Russia. These people don't really have anything to offer Russia. You know, Russia is one of the richest places on the earth, especially with their new booming economy. Now, what America fear is that the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans is going to join with the enemy. That's their fear. That's why they busted, you know, all their spots in America at the same time. So that's going to take us to Exodus 1, because this goes back to the Old Testament. All right, we're going to start here, Exodus 1 and 7. And the children of Israel, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, were fruitful, you know, in ancient Egypt. We fruitful here in America, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. America is being filled with us. It's Hispanics and Mexicans all over the place. It's Negroes all over the place. So, same thing that's going on in this new spiritual Egypt, as far as our numbers, went on in ancient Egypt. Because being oppressed, it makes the body more fertile. That goes back to the scriptures. So, it's not just that we being careless, having all these babies. Being oppressed makes you more fertile. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. And now it's the king of Egypt. Who would be the king of this new spiritual Egypt? It would be the white man. And this would clarify why we call America spiritual Egypt, because it's called spiritual Egypt in the book of Revelation. And when you get this picture of the dollar, and really all throughout America, they got pyramids all over the place. This is spiritual Egypt. So the white man has been saying, yo, the people of Israel, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are more and mightier than us. More and mightier than the white man. Of course we mightier. Look at us in sports. Look at our natural build. Look at our numbers. And then, what did the king of Egypt say? Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it comes to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out the land. So yeah, that's what the white man is doing to this African Socialist Party. You know, international organization in America and in Europe, which would be the land of the enemy, and in the homeland, which would be Africa. So the so-called white man, the FBI, they were saying, you know, let us do it wisely with them. That's why they tried to raid all the spots and lock them up for any reason. That's why they been systematically killing us, locking us up in prison to bring our population down. And they've been trying to do that to us in case when any war break out between America and her enemies, they fear that the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans might join America's enemies and fight against them. So what they want to do is quickly get us up out the land, you know, not ship us to another country, but kill us. So that's what's going on. They fear that in this time of war, you know, they fear that the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans might come up against America from the inside. And that's funny. That's why they said they was accusing this African Socialist Party of working with Russia, which we know ain't true. So we're going to read this one more time. Come on, and let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they also join into our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Because remember, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, our population is already bigger than the white man's population. So if we was to magically come together within America, we could take this place. Because most of America's military, where they at? They got 800 military bases across the world. They got a U.S. military presence at all 800 military bases. They all over there in Ukraine, all over there in the Middle East, all over there, you know, up and around China and Australia. So we could probably almost take this place, but that's their fear. That dang, you know, we already fighting Russia and all this and that. So what if the Negroes, you know, decided to turn on us? And what we listening to is the beginning stages of martial law. That's going to be another reason for martial law. Once the war that's going on gets more serious, they're going to have to lock America down because they're going to be vulnerable. Because they're going to have to send so much more of their armed forces, you know, overseas out of America. Then the King Alfred plan, what is that? That's the international effort to wipe out people of African descent. You know, what they mean to say is wipe out people of descendants of Israel, which would be the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And when the war gets more serious, they got a plan where they can detain and arrest all black and Hispanic people throughout America in an 8-hour period. And then once we arrested and detained, we'd be through in these concentration camps. Now, how the FBI went to their various locations, kicked in the door, arrested them, no search warrant, no reason, no evidence. They went in there with their drones and with their technology. That's the beginning stages of martial law. that's showing us what's to come. But with martial law, it's going to be much more severe. But let's let this continue.
We feel that is a just struggle. We feel that every colonized African who is gunned down in the city of St. Pete or anywhere else in this country, like George Floyd or like Mike Brown, we feel that our response is to fight against that relationship. Our responsibility is to fight against our oppression and our domination. And that means organizing a revolutionary capacity to make that possible.
She said that word oppression. And you can see that she's mad. We all mad. Now let me look up the scripture real quick. Wow. Now we're gonna get Ecclesiastes 7:7, because you can hear the you can hear the fire in her voice. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and the gift destroyeth the heart. So yeah, oppression, it's gonna make you mad if you in your correct mind. If you living in America and you not mad about the oppression, you don't think we in oppression, you unwise. And a better word to say is you stupid. So we're gonna let this continue.
That means that we unite with any force because we understand that colonialism is a global system. And that
Yeah, colonialism, America, the European Union, NATO is a global system. It's the Roman Empire on a global scale.
has interests everywhere throughout the world. Everywhere that they are talking about we have a relationship with, the US is there right now plundering people's resources. But they are not under investigation. Just a few weeks ago, the Uhuru House was attacked in broad daylight, where an arsonist came to the Uhuru House and burned down and attempted to burn our red, black, and green flag that waves at our offices down. There was
My name is Alethea.
I just watched this clip last night. Ain't no damn commercials play. And you heard her say they tried to burn the flag down. Nah, if anybody tried to burn the American flag down, America be ready to go to war with them. They're gonna put you all over the news, and they're gonna come airstrike your spot. So, yeah, America's some devils.
was no FBI investigation into that person who tried to burn down our flag. There was no response from the FBI and the St. Pete Police Department to respond to this attack that came against our Uhuru House. And we also understand that that's not a coincidence. That the only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. The institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers, that was the building that has come under attack. And in St. Louis, where we have incredible economic projects that have transformed the conditions of our community. Not the U.S. government. No politician ever did that for our community, but it was us, the Uhuru movement, that made that possible. And today, this process is disrupting a meeting that we're supposed to have around initiating a project, the African Women Doula Project, that can make it possible for African women to deliver babies safely in our community. This process is interrupting that as I speak. And what this is a problem.
Okay, I just missed that last night, but let me go back a little bit. She said that the attack, that happened is disrupting the process where people of African descent, whether you're African or Israelite, can have babies in their own communities without going to a hospital, because we know the white man get our babies end up cerebral palsy. They end up dropping them. It be some kind of medical mistake. It be something where either the baby or the mother winds up dead. It's common knowledge that a so-called black or Hispanic baby born is more likely to die than a white baby. Now let's hear this again, because that's in the scriptures.
This process process is disrupting a meeting that we're supposed to have around initiating a project, the African Women Doula Project, that can make it possible for African women to deliver babies safely in our community. This process is interrupting that as I speak.
Yeah, safely in our communities. The white man is trying to interrupt that. That's also in Exodus 1. So let me go down a little bit. So Exodus 1 and 16. And when he said, talking about Pharaoh, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. So yeah, even back in ancient Egypt, because you remember what Pharaoh said, their number is great and mightier than we. Let us deal wisely with them. In case war break out, they join with our enemies and fight against us. So this is part of them dealing wisely with the Israelites. So if it be a son, you are to kill him, because it's the son that carries the seed. It's the son that will most likely grow up to be a powerful so-called black and Hispanic man that can fight against them, as he grows older. So that's why they wanted to kill a son. So that was Planned Parenthood back in the day. America perfected Planned Parenthood because what? It says if the son come out and it be a son, kill him. So meaning you got to kill the baby after it's born. America, they can kill your baby before it's born, rather it be a son or a daughter. They want to kill all our babies. And that's really a big thing that the African Socialist Party is trying to do to make it where we can safely deliver babies in our own community. That's probably why they was attacked. The white man don't want that, because what's going on now? Roe versus Wade. What's out there? That the population of the so-called white man is falling. That the Edomites are dropping in number. So yeah, read this again. We're going to continue. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, not the Egyptian women, but the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. Now, they're not doing that to the white people babies, to the Edomite children. They take the best care of them. But our babies, for some reason, they always come up dead or got cerebral palsy. It be some kind of complication. They say, oh, the mother was having complications. No, Esau, you the complication. That was the only thing wrong with the process. We've been having babies since Adam and Eve. And ain't as many babies ever died as they dying now under the care of the so-called white man. So, yep. What we reading is the same thing going on now. If it's a Hebrew baby, if the father is a Negro, Hispanic, or Native American, hey, even if the mother is a Hebrew, Hispanic, or Native American, see that you kill, every so few babies. Well, what you think gonna happen during martial law? Jacob's trouble. Well, it's not gonna be no hospital services, but as prophecy progress, our people that be having babies in the hospital, Esau gonna start killing all of them. What you think they gonna blame it on? Or the baby had the monkey business, or they had that number sickness. It got the letter and the two numbers that came out in 2020. They're gonna start blaming it on that. They're gonna start blaming it on all these new disease, polio. So how they killing our babies now in this new spiritual Egypt, they're doing the same thing in ancient Egypt. And that's actually an issue that needs more attention, and that's not being properly addressed, but these people were already on it. Now again, this ain't your Black Lives Matter. That stuff is organized by the government. The founder, a so-called black woman, she's in voodoo and witchcraft. She took all the money, bought her a multi-million-dollar home. So that's all BS. This here, it's on a low level because it's not, back with the scriptures. It's not coming under the name YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, but, they actually a resistance to the white man system. But we're going to continue. We're gonna go back one more time, then we're going to continue.
We're supposed to have initiating a project, the African Women Doula Project, that can make it possible for African women to deliver babies safely in our community. This process is interrupting that as I speak. And what this is a propaganda campaign against Russia. In that press conference where I had my ear pressed to the door, they are talking about interference in local elections and social media. No, I'll tell you, it's Mark Zuckerberg that interferes with the ability for people to communicate with one another and express their genuine interests. That's who was at the security conference for the U.S. government. It's Mark Zuckerberg who's responsible for that. And the U.S. is attempting to explain its own contradictions with Russia because it cannot rule in the same old way. It does not have the unity of its entire population. That's what Trump represented. And they say it was Russia intervention in the elections. They say it's an undemocratic process. What does the U.S. know about genuine democracy when it takes the ability for African people to feed, clothe, and house ourselves on a daily basis? You want to talk about destabilization? Talk to Nicaragua, talk to Venezuela, talk to Cuba, talk to Russia, and ask about undemocratic processes. That's what we're engaged in right now. And they are...
You heard what she said? Talk about destabilization. That's what's going on in Nicaragua, Cuba, because why are all those countries falling apart? Because of corruption. The U.S. is involved in their politics and in their government. They put puppets in place to bring down those countries. Let's go back and let's listen.
Democracy when it takes the ability for African people to feed, clothe, and house ourselves on a daily basis. You want to talk about destabilization? Talk to Nicaragua, talk to Venezuela, talk to Cuba, talk to Russia, and ask about undemocratic processes. That's what we're engaged in right now. And they are attempting to...
Because what's destabilization? It's when you weaken something. Like, for example, if you got a table with 4 legs, you take out one of the legs or you weaken one of them. You're going to destabilize it. You're going to weaken it. So let's go down to, I think, after the 12th verse. All right, the 12th verse, yep. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? And this throw it out there, this not talking about Lucifer fell from the kingdom of heaven. Satan is in the kingdom of heaven right now. Where do you think the meeting was at when Satan and the holy angels had a meeting with the Most High discussing Job? It was in the kingdom of heaven. It was in the spiritual world. So this is talking about the so-called white man. And what's heaven? That would be his rulership here on the earth. Meaning, how art thou fallen out of power, O Lucifer? How are you fallen out of rulership, O Lucifer? Who would be Lucifer? It would be the so-called white man. Because he's fallen out of power. He's fallen out of rulership. This is him falling from heaven. Son of the morning. We're going to prove that this Lucifer is a man. This we'll be reading. This not dealing with anything with the holy angels or Satan. Satan and Lucifer ain't the same people, ain't the same spirit. Two different things. And let's see what it say. How art thou cut to the ground? Yeah, because Lucifer is being cut to the ground. They're falling out of power. The prophets is exposing them, breaking them down with the scriptures. You got other people that's exposing the so-called white man. It said, which did weaken the nations. Which did weaken the nations. That's destabilization. Because that's what she was saying. Ask Sri Lanka. Ask Nicaragua. Ask Cuba. Ask the Middle East. When America was in the Middle East, they was destabilizing the legitimate government. Meaning the people had their own legitimate government. The U.S. went in and destabilized the place by corrupting the government, by putting their own people in play. Now, when we continue, now we're gonna read it, then we're gonna continue all the way through, and we're gonna show that this is the so-called white man, this Lucifer. We're gonna go to the book of Obadiah real quick. Then we're gonna hit the 4th verse, actually the 3rd verse, and we're gonna show that this is talking about the so-called white man. Verse 1, the vision of Obadiah. Thus says the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Yeah, because our numbers are more and mightier than they. And this is concerning population and in power. Thou art greatly despised, meaning you are hated. The white man, especially dealing with the daughter of Babylon, America, and this beast system, are greatly despised. China hates this place. North Korea hates this place. Russia hates this place. The Middle East hates this place. Even Americans hate America. The children of Israel, everywhere we are, we hate America. The Caribbeans, South America, they hate America. The holy angels in YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI hate America. Hey, even the demons hate America. Again, thou art greatly despised. Now let's continue. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Yeah, that's the so-called white man. They're the caveman. They used to live in the caves. Look up Mount Seir. There's literally a city carved into the mountains whose habitation is high. That's safe in his heart. Remember, this is concerning Edom. That's safe in his heart. Who shall bring me down to the ground? That's how the white man feel. Who's going to take me out of power? Who's going to take me out of rulership? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So yeah, the Lord is going to bring this devil down. Because remember, he said, who shall bring me down to the ground? Now back to Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, the so-called white man, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground? So it was saying, how did you get cut down to the ground? Well, we know how he got cut down to the ground. Though thou set thy nest among the stars, this I will bring thee down, saith the Lord. So it's the Lord that's bringing Lucifer down, which is the so-called white man, which did weaken the nations, going through their country, corrupting their government, taking all their resources, paying the people a nickel a day. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. That's a part of his heart. He said he will ascend into heaven. Same thing in Obadiah. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, they're trying to colonize outer space. They're trying to militarize outer space. They want to put Edomite cities in outer space. They want to put their military bases in outer space. That's them ascending into heaven, in outer space. I would exalt my throne above the stars of God. So they want to expand the European Union and NATO into outer space. So it would no longer be a global empire. It would be a galactic empire, if you want to use that word. So them setting their nest among the stars, that's them exalting their throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. That's them ruling over North America. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So all the white man doing is trying to be like the Most High. They want to be the dominant power. They want to control everything. Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. This is concerning the grave. Meaning, because what did Yahawashi say in Obadiah 4? Thence I will bring you down to what? Down to the ground, which is the dirt, which is the grave. And that's hell. I already did a lesson that I haven't uploaded yet, but I will upload shortly, that when we see hell in the scriptures, it's usually talking about the grave. And again, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee, they that see Lucifer brought to the ground, that see Lucifer fall out of power, that see Lucifer fall out of rulership, shall look narrowly upon thee. Meaning we gonna squint our eyes at the white man and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? This is concerning Lucifer. So once, as he's fallen out of power, as the world wakes up to who he is, the so-called white man, they that see thee shall look narrowly upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? Is this the man that the Bible spoke of? Is this the wicked man that made the earth to tremble, that did weaken the nations? Damn. That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof? Yeah. That opened not the house of his prisoners? Who would be the prisoners? The Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So yeah, as this man is falling out of power, you know, thanks to the prophets, they're going to look at the white man and say, you know, is this the man? Is this the man of sin? Is this the wicked? Is this the devil? Because it is. Now we're going to let this continue.
This organization, they're attempting to isolate the Black Power movement. That's what they are attempting to do. And we can have relationships with whoever we want, whoever we see fit possible to make this revolution possible. We will have a relationship with them.
It sounds like you're not denying working with Mr. Ivanov and the Russian government. You're not denying that?
Look, they're raiding our properties as we speak. Whatever.
Now, I hope y'all was able to hear it, but this damn devil, this white man, gonna say, so it sounds like you're not denying working with the Russian government. Then he gonna say, why would you work with the adversary of the U.S.? Did you take Russian money to fund your organization? Pretty much taken away from what she's trying to bring out, the oppression of our people. Esau always coming on us with the sword. The white man is trying to divert the attention away from that. And he's trying to slander her name, slander the organization, and accuse her of working with the enemy. Now, she says she sides with Russia. That don't mean that she's doing anything. How can we fight Russia's war when we're too busy fighting the so-called white man ourselves? Fighting oppression, fighting for the life of our children in the school system, in the hospitals, fighting for our own lives out here in the streets. We ain't got no jet fighters. We ain't got no missiles. We ain't got no weapon distribution companies, weapon manufacturing companies. We ain't got no warships. We ain't got no military tactical gear. So how we gonna help Russia? We just said we side with Russia. So we're gonna let this continue, and this lady handles them well. I pray that the Lord let me get powers and find this white man, because somebody need to deal with him.
They'll let you know what we have and what we have not done. But I will say this, that we unite with any force that is willing to unite in our anti-colonial struggle. And that part is clear. We will not refuse to engage with others around the world who want to see this system go. We will not refuse that. That's what I'll say about that.
If you are working with the Russian government, you're not concerned at all that
the U.S. is working with every colonial government in the world, and nobody is saying a damn thing about what the U.S. is doing in Africa. What they don't raid the homes and ask white people any questions after they come back from Israel, where they're murdering Palestinian people every single day. They don't flash bomb their homes. They don't send the police there, even though they went into international waters in a place where they are killing Palestinians on a daily basis. Nobody is asking them any questions about their affiliation. The U.S. is affiliated with all the undemocratic forces around the world attempting to oppress African and other colonized people.
Why not register as a foreign agent?
Why would we register as a foreign agent? We recognize that this is an illegitimate settler colony, that the only foreigners here are Europeans themselves who came here and stole this indigenous land at gunpoint. That's who needs to register as a foreign alien or whatever. It's the U.S. government.
Are you unindicted co-conspirator number 4?
Watch this. I can show you how to get the sweetest deals online when you shop from major retailers like Amazon and Target. You can drop prices automatically. I can show you how, but I can't do it for you. People are...
What's at stake? Because they didn't give us any of that paperwork.
So
you want to know my name? Because I can tell you.
Co-conspirator 4, whose identity is known to the grand jury, was a United States citizen residing in St. Petersburg, and the Director of Agitation and Propaganda.
I stated my name is Akile Anayi. I'm the Director of Agitation and Propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party. I ran for office in 2017 and 2019 on the platform of reparations, the first time that was ever done in this country. Under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. It was the African People's Socialist Party that did that campaign. It was African... See my public records and the donors that came through that we have to report publicly. See that? See, check our public records. You want to be a part of the state's investigation? You check their public records and see what resources we accepted.
Yes or no? Do you accept Russian money as part of your...
You are trying to make this discussion about something that it is not. You want to know what this real problem is about? If you are genuinely interested to know what this situation is about, not live in fancy land about whether or not I accepted money from Russians, this is real. Not the way you want to see it, not the way you want to control the narrative. What I'm talking about right now is that they're using Russia as a part of a propaganda tool against the people to turn you away, to win, first of all, win your unity with the U.S. government. The U.S. government has no ability to answer any of your questions. None. It can't solve any of your problems, and they tell you that it's Russia's fault. Russia is not in your community causing you to starve. Russia is not in your community pushing you out. Russia is not the St. Pete Police Department that killed Tyron Lewis in 1996. It was not Russia. It was the U.S. government that did that.
Are you concerned about being arrested yourself?
I am not concerned about what the crisis of imperialism and how it will act. No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm like really late for all this stuff. This seems like a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right now.
It started 600 years ago.
Yeah. So what exactly is the FBI accusing you guys of?
They are accusing us of this is what they're making it about. And I want to be clear, this is what they're making it about. Because the African People's Socialist Party has been here for 50 years. And this is not the first time we've come under any kind of assault, FBI investigation, or anything like that. This will always be the case as we try to fight for our freedom, because African freedom comes at the expense of U.S. interests. That's just how that goes. And a couple years ago, they labeled Africans who would struggle in their own interests as black identity extremists. They have terrorist designations for people like us who want to fight for our freedom. So I want to make that clear. That
even us, the so-called men of the Lord, they're going to label us as identity extremists. Pretty much label us a terrorist group. And that's why they're going to come against us in martial law. They're going to say these are domestic terrorist groups. They're black identity extremists. You know, the men of the Lord and other black organizations, so-called black organizations, Hispanic organizations. They're going to say we're a threat to national security. They're going to say we're a threat to the general public. And then what else? They're trying to accuse them of working with Russia. So they're trying to turn the white man against us. They're trying to turn the white man against us by saying we're working with Russia. Then they're going to start saying we're working with China. And they'll be working with the Middle East. They're going to accuse us of all kind of things. And that's why right here I got Psalms 50 and 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Who are the main two brothers that the scriptures talk about in the Old and New Testament? Jacob and Esau. Esau is the so-called white man. Jacob is the father of the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So when it says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, it's the so-called white man Esau speaking against his brother Jacob, speaking against the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because Esau is the one with the platform. He's the ones that's dominating politics. He the one with the TV channels and the radio stations. He the one with the microphone and all this and that. So they speaking against us. We defending anytime we speak, we defending ourselves. Her home got raided, we defending ourselves. A black man gets shot down, it's still somehow our fault. We defending ourselves. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. So yeah, Jacob and Esau, they got the same mother. That's why it says, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. That's what the white man is doing to this African political socialist party. That's what they're doing to the prophets, the men of the Lord. You know, we the head of the battle. We the one that's taking charge against the battle against the so-called white man. You know, they doing it in the physical, but remember, this is a spiritual battle. You want to fight the spiritual battle. You don't want to fight Esau in the flesh because he is the sword. He got his military at the end of the day. But again, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Now let's continue. And they was asking her, well, did you get Russian money? And she said, you know, if you want to see who funded us, go get the public records, because it's made public who funded them, where they got their money from.
This is what they're saying it's about, but they need an entry point to be able to attack our movement, and this is the one that they're using. But they are accusing us of conspiring with the Russian government.
Yeah, because when Esau comes and attack you, he can't just attack you heads up. They need an entry point. They got to accuse you of something. They got to say, oh, they're a domestic terrorist group. They're black identity extremists. Oh, they're working and conspiring with Russia. The Hebrew Israelite groups that's out here, you know, preaching the truth. Even the ones, you know, that's not preaching the whole truth. What they saying, we becoming more militant. We becoming more violent. They need an entry point where they can demonize us, meaning they can make us out to be the bad guy. They can make us out to be criminals, so then they can come and attack us. Because Esau, he has to... I'm going to let this bus go by. Because Esau has to create a conflict, and he's going to make us the problem, and then he's going to come fight that problem to make himself the hero. So this is going to be a majority of what martial law is about. It's about Esau labeling all of these different Hispanic and so-called black and Hebrew groups. He's going to make us to be terrorists. And Esau is going to have to come deal with us. That's why there's going to be martial law. That's why there's going to be an international effort. America and all these European allies going to send all their troops to America to lock down America, to arrest and detain all of us, to throw all of us behind bars. Then they're going to start exterminating us by beheading us, lethal injection, gas chambers, hanging us, the firing squad. They're going to start executing us in all these different ways. But before they can do that, legally, they got to make us out to be the enemy. They got to demonize us. They got to slander our name. They got to slander us. They got to take what we're doing and twist it. So let's continue. Matter of fact, we're going to go back a little bit and we're going to let it play.
Our movement, and this is the one that they're using. But they are accusing us of conspiring with the Russian government for, I can't even tell you because it don't really make that much sense. You know what I'm saying? So this is what they are accusing us of conspiring with the Russian government, and for whatever purposes and interests they have not explained. But I guess this comes at the expense of U.S. democracy, which isn't that very democratic. So
what is next for you? Did you get an attorney? What is
Damn, Esau.
If you've tried growing your Instagram account, you know it's easier said than done.
the next couple of days and weeks look like as they tell us the investigation?
well, with our position, we continue doing what we've always done, which is organize our community towards African revolution. And we organize a response to this, just like we have in this response right now, just like we're able to put out and define what this struggle is about. That's what we'll continue to do, and we'll continue to organize as necessary around whatever they try to drill down the pipeline. But like I said, this isn't the first time, our first go-around with the FBI. So we are prepared, you know, to take it where it needs to go and to the full length of however long this investigations last. We will organize around it. And that's another thing. You touch me, you touch the African People's Socialist Party, you touch Chairman Amali Eshatella, you touch Deputy Chair Onizine Eshatella, any member of the African People's Socialist Party, you touch a member of the African nation. This is an international organization. We have bases throughout the world. So you don't just touch an individual, you touch an entire organization, and you touch an entire people who are counting on this movement right here to lead us to freedom.
Why work with Russia, who is a known U.S. adversary? Why work with them and be unregistered? Why take their money? Why work with
Did I ever say I took any money? See, no. I never, no. That's what I'm accused of. I never said that, so don't put that in my mouth. I didn't say that.
Did you take money?
Look, I don't want to answer your question because you want to take it somewhere. I don't want to take it there. I've defined this for you. No, I will let them tell it because that's the people you'll believe. That's the people you'll believe. But you want to ask any question about why we would affiliate ourselves with anybody that is willing to unite with the anti-colonial struggle? That's what your question is, essentially, for us.
Why a U.S. adversary that we've had issues with in the past? Why work with them?
Because I don't identify with you and the U.S. government. I don't identify with that.
Do you hate the government?
I detest the U.S. government and what it does to African people on a daily basis. That's what we are here for, because we refuse to allow the system anymore to take the lives of African people. That is a logical thing for me to do.
Do you understand what the indictment is about? Unregistered co-conspirators. I mean, you understand what they're.
I understand what they are saying this is about, and I'm telling you what it's about for real, in the real world. Not how you want to see the world, but what it actually is. This is happening in the context of Russia at war with Ukraine. This is happening in the context of our building being potentially burned down. This is happening in that context.
Do you think, is Russia, are they the good guys in the war against Ukraine?
See, that's
Who's the good guy, who's the bad guy?
you hear this devil?
Russia, we are in support of Russia, I'll say.
He asking her, why would you take Russian money? Why would you work with the adversary of the United States? Do you think Russia is the good guy in the war? Yeah, we think Russia the good guy. So does the rest of the world. But this Edomite, he a devil. That's how they do. Somebody paid him to say all that stuff. Because what do we say? They got to demonize you. They got to make you out to be a criminal and to be the enemy. Because I'm sure everybody that's listening is speechless to what she's saying. But he got to keep saying that stuff. He keep going on about us, about them working with Russia, being funded by Russia. Even if they just took money. So what? And that's why we're going to get Revelation 12 and 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. Who is the accuser of our brethren? The so-called white man. He's accusing them of working with Russia, accusing them of taking Russian money, accusing them of saying, we think Russia the good guy. Just any little thing they can do, they accuse us. George Floyd got killed by the police. They accused him of being the problem. They can kill our people, but we the problem. They say, oh, they got aggressive. Oh, we got scared for our lives. Anything that happens, the so-called black man is the problem. When that stuff was spreading in 2020, they said we was the problem. We weren't getting checked up. We weren't getting properly medicated. We weren't social distancing. So anything that goes on, the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American man is the problem. When martial law goes on and all kind of hell breaking out in America, they're going to say pretty much that the so-called black man is the problem. That's why it's going to be an international effort to lock up people of African or Hispanic descent. In other words, Negroes, Mexicans, and Native Americans, and all the Hispanic tribes. That's why they come in after us. And the accuser of our brethren, the people who's accusing us of everything on the planet, is being cast down. Because remember, what did we read in Isaiah 14? How is Lucifer cut down to the ground? And we know, thanks to Obadiah, the Lord said, from thence I will bring thee down. So the accuser of our brethren, the so-called white man, is being cast down, meaning taken out of power, falling from heaven, falling from rulership right before our eyes, which accused us before our God day and night. Because you don't know it, but Esau be having rituals where they be praying to the Most High, saying, you see what the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are doing? You see how they don't listen to you? They continue to sin. They continue to sell drugs and smoke weed and be strippers. Esau be doing that because Esau be praying to the Lord that the Lord casts us off from being his people, that the Lord completely turn his back on us, and that the Lord doesn't establish the new covenant with us. So Esau is desperate, even trying to turn the Lord on us. But what did YAHAWASHI say in the book of Matthew? Thou shalt not tempt the Lord. And that's what Esau be doing. So Esau be doing stuff behind our backs against us that we don't even know about, like praying to the Lord against us. Now, I got another one of the people in St. Louis that speak. I'm going to try to talk a little less, but they get more in depth about what happened. You know, here we know they kicked down the doors with no search warrant, no evidence, snatched the people up, put them in handcuffs, tried to burn down the house in St. Louis, but we gonna get the other one. We're gonna get like the first 10 minutes. I'm gonna try to speak less.
This time, they haven't yet claimed us. We have some relationship with China, but that's to come, I'm sure.
Matter of fact, we're gonna continue.
Because China and Russia represent to them serious kinds of problems, but also black people represent a serious problem to the United States government. And
so yeah, he said Russia and China is a problem to the United States government. So he's not surprised that they try to say that they're working with China. They got to demonize us. They got to make us the enemy. They got to make us a threat to national security so they can come at us. This is the build-up to martial law. Trump being raided to stir up the so-called white man. Now the white man is ready for a civil war to fight against the government and fight against us. This is the nation against nation, Egyptian against Egyptian, people fighting with swords in their hand. We know the gun is the modern day sword. That's what is being built up right now. All the people that took that fake PPP loan in America went and hired 87,000 bounty hunters that's not American to hunt down all the so-called black people that took that loan. This is the build-up to all hell breaking loose. All this stuff is going to contribute to martial law. Now we're going to try to let this continue until the lady starts speaking.
Done so historically. That's why Malcolm X is dead. That's why Martin Luther King is dead. Russians didn't do that. That's why more than 28 members of the Black Panther Party in 1968 alone were murdered. The Russians didn't do that. That's why this community, now people have been under aggression. That's why a spy center is being developed right here in North St. Louis. Even as they're pushing black people out of our homes, gentrifying us and things like that, taking away our properties, created this entity that they call a land bank administration for the purpose of stealing property from black people legally. Even as they are doing that kind of thing, they're attacking those of us who are trying to defend this community and to bring economic development to this community. That's what we do. That's what we do here. That's what we've done historically. So when it comes to this issue about Russia and Ukraine, where Russia has spent, where the United States has, in this last budget offering that I saw, talked about more than $40 billion more that they're given to this entity that they call Ukraine, the entity that they put in power after overthrowing the legitimate government in Ukraine in 2014. We're supposed to have forgotten that, to put themselves closer to the border of Russia, that they have declared to be some kind of adversary, though they haven't explained to us why it's an adversary, though I don't care why they would say that. The fact is that we are able to say that we are not pacifists. We are not pacifists at all. We believe that there's a difference in just wars and unjust wars, and we are opposed to unjust wars, and we support just wars. Unjust wars are those wars that try to colonize people, keep them under tyranny, bury them under oppression, and just wars are those wars that are fought by oppressed people to liberate themselves. We don't just support Russia in this war against Ukraine. We support Palestine. Even as the U.S. government and U.S. citizens are leaving this country every day, going to Palestine, where that is murdering Palestinian Arabs on a daily basis. Don't tell us that we can't have friends that you don't like. Because the fact is, the friends that we have were people who will be opposed to murdering people in Palestine, murdering people in North St. Louis, murdering people in Afghanistan, murdering people in Syria. We would be opposed to them. And so anybody who would stand up for the liberation of those people, we're on their side. You don't have to be a Russian or anything like that. One. Secondly, yes, I have been to Russia, but I've also been to South Africa. I've been to Ghana. I've been to various other places in Africa. I've been to Nicaragua. I've been all kinds of places where oppressed people are organizing, because black people need not to be isolated. And that's what this government would do. They would have us isolated, assuming that there is nothing that we can turn to except Joe Biden, who turned loose 100,000 policemen in the street with his omnibus crime bill that's probably killed Mike Brown. And the Russians didn't kill Mike Brown, by the way. Nobody said a Russian did that. That was an American domestic soldier that they called the police that killed Mike Brown. So you want me to hate Russians? And no, I don't hate Russians, but I hate those people who killed Mike Brown, and I hate the institutions that's responsible for that. So I wanted to say that. And to be clear about that, I'm an unabashedly a black man, an African that's committed to the liberation of black people, the African and all the other oppressed peoples on the planet Earth. And the United States has always historically been opposed to the liberation of oppressed people, opposed to freedom in Nicaragua, opposed to freedom in Afghanistan, opposed to freedom in South Africa. Mandela, from your perspective, at one time was a terrorist. Fidel Castro, how many times has the U.S. government tried to murder Fidel Castro? This is the reality that we're talking about, and so we are unabashedly on our own side. So I just wanted to say that in terms of what happened. Let me just say, they actually sent a drone into this house. They said we were not charged with anything.
You heard what he said? He said they sent a drone into the house. So they kicked down the door and they sent the drone there. No, we're gonna let this continue. That's what martial law is gonna be like. The military police gonna kick your door down. Then they robotics, they mechanical dogs, they drones. It's gonna storm your house and run you up out your house and run you down the street. In these fields and stuff, they gonna send drones and these mechanical dogs and other pieces of technology they got to spy and to hunt us down.
That's what they said. They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out. Something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do. The only thing we do is fight for black people, black power. All you gotta do is walk through North St. Louis and you can see the changes that we brought here as a party for black people. And the government is opposed to that, and that's why we are under attack, and also because they see us as pawns that they can use in this propaganda war against Russia. That's why black people who make this mistake of assuming that what's happening in Afghanistan or what's happening in Russia and Ukraine have nothing to do with us, clearly it does have something to do with us. The United States government clearly says it has something to do with us. And what they have done also is tried to create a situation where there is the appearance that anybody, black people who oppose, who criticize what the United States government is doing to us must be the employ of Russia.
Yeah. So anybody that speaks up against America, they expose America, they got to be working for Russia. Because this white dude I watch, Off-Grid Desert Farmer with Paul, I often include some of his clips on my lessons. They always say he a Russian spy. But what's going on is the white man is being exposed. That's why Job 20:27, the heaven shall reveal his iniquity. Who's the heavens? The man of the Lord, the servants, the prophets. We revealing the iniquity of the so-called white man. First, we identifying this devil. We identifying the criminal. Because in court, don't they got to ask you your name? You got to be identified. Well, we identify him according to the scriptures. Oh, you Esau, you the Edomites. So first, you got to identify who the criminal is. You got to be able to put a name into a face with him. What's the name? Esau. What's his face? Is red. So the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, meaning his sin, his dirt that he been doing since the ancient days and through the last 600 years. He revealing his iniquity. And the earth shall rise up against him. China is rising up against him. Palestinian, Syria, Iran, the Middle East is rising up against them. North Korea and Russia is rising up against them. Central South America and Cuba is rising up against them. The Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans is rising up against them. The weather, the rain, the sun, the earthquakes is rising up against them. The animals is rising up against them. The holy angels in YAHAWASHI is rising up against them. So the heavens and earth alike is rising up against the so-called white man. You know, more specifically here in America, you know, the daughter of Babylon. So one more time, the heaven, the man of the Lord shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against them. And also, other people of the earth is rising up against them. The white man is exposing their own people. Hey, what did Russia say? America can't talk about anybody else, how they stole this land from the indigenous people and enslaved the so-called black people here. What did China say? America can't speak about no other country, how they enslaved the so-called indigenous people and tortured the so-called black people. The Filipino, the Philippines stated the same thing. So not only is the heaven revealing his iniquity, the rest of the earth is revealing his iniquity. Those outside of being the Lord's servants, the prophets, and the entire earth is rising up against him. That don't just include the people. Now let's continue.
Somehow Russia killed Mike Brown. That somehow we needed the Russians to tell us that we were oppressed. That's a hell of a statement. It's a disgusting, slanderous statement that black people don't have enough sense to know who it is that's killing us, murdering us, and keeping us living in these conditions. And I've been to Russia, and I didn't see Russians living like black people live right here in North St. Louis. That's the reality. So I wanted to say that. My wife was here too. I don't know if you want to say anything about what happened. Yeah, I just
So
want.
his wife is going to speak for a few minutes. Then we're going to end it. But I'm going to get a few more scriptures before we let her play. Now, matter of fact, we're gonna let her go.
To hear this. I want you to hear this from different people. And this house was not the only house attacked. They attacked our office in St. Petersburg, Florida, our headquarters there. They raided it. They stole materials from us, just like they stole from this house. They stole my phone. They stole my computer. They stole computers from other members of our organization, cell phones. They have that. They stole that from us. They said that they had a warrant for it. They may have had a warrant for it, but they didn't show it to me. And so what I saw was a thief. The thieves came in and used flashbang grenades.
Man, these thieves, let's get a scripture real quick. If grape gatherers come to thee, Jeremiah 49:9. If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not have left some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. So yeah, Esau is going to steal and destroy and never be satisfied. Well, we're going to let this lady speak.
Terrorized this entire community and stole some material from us under the color of law. It's a colonial law that we're looking at. So did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Uhuru, I just want to say that we were just sitting in the house at 5 a.m. in the morning talking like we normally talk. And the next thing we knew, we heard someone say, everyone at 4442 Redbud, come out with your hands up. So, we're new to the city, so we're thinking some kind of flash flood, because it's been flooding here. And then they said it again. And then we had heard all these flash bombs go off. And chairman says, come on, let's get out of here. So chairman went out first, and then I came out. As I was coming out, this big old drone met me coming down the stairs, like it was going to attack me.
So yeah, she heard a knock at the door saying everybody at this address come out. And before she could even come out, there was already a drone up in her house. Now how did the drone get up in there? But the drone was already in her house. When Esau come and try to take you about your home, he already gonna have drones strapped with flamethrowers, machine guns. He gonna have mechanical dogs all in your backyard, surrounded you around the block already. That's how Esau coming. Before they could leave the house and before the white man could kick down the door, a drone was already in there. As she was coming down the stairs, ready to open fire on her. And there was a so-called Edomite somewhere behind the desk controlling the drone. Because the people that play Fortnite, Call of Duty, these professional players that play in these tournaments and get paid, Esau, the so-called white man, gonna hire them to control these drones. They're gonna give them a joystick-like thing, like they play in the video game, and say, here, control these drones, shoot anybody that resists. So that's gonna be them playing a real-life video game, shooting down real people.
They handcuffed myself and the chairman and, escorted us to the side of the road and started, asking us questions, which we didn't answer.
In the house.
In the house.
In the house. So when that door, because when I walked out of the door, the door was open. Let me just say that. Go ahead.
Also, they would, damage the door, to get in the other apartment next to us. So, if we hadn't opened the door, everything would have been, slammed.
The door, you can see the window. The window was broken there. They put a boarded up that door there. But the reality is this: even if they had a legitimate warrant, like they said, all they got to do is knock on the door. What is a flash bomb? What is being out here terrorizing the entire community? Something about a search warrant. And
All right, we'll get a couple more scriptures. Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. When you bare, it's like you naked. And when you naked, you expose. So Esau's wickedness, his dirt, his iniquity that's being revealed by the heavens, Esau, the so-called white man, is exposed. I have uncovered his secret places. What's his secret places? His lies. We exposing everything he ever lied about. We exposing the dirt that he's still doing now. So this is spiritual, just all the stuff they bringing out. And he shall not be able to hide himself. Yeah, you can't hide yourself, Esau. He's doing everything that the Edomites would do in the scriptures. He's doing everything that Esau would do according to the scriptures. He cannot hide himself, meaning he can't hide himself under these aliases, these fake identities, as being European, Caucasian, white, America. No, you the Edomite. You can no longer hide yourself. You're doing everything that is said Esau and the Edomites would do. Now let's go back to the book of Obadiah. Excuse me. Excuse me. I think we're gonna go down to maybe the 7th verse. How are the things of Esau searched out? Yeah, what's being searched out? His secret places, all his lies, his dirt, his wickedness. We try to keep all that stuff secret, and we searching it out. How are his hidden things sought up? Meaning how we bringing out the truth in all his lies. And also the truth which he hides, we bringing that out. Now we're going to go down to verse 10, which is going to be the last verse. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. This is violence against his brother Jacob, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is just a repeat of Black Wall Street. I think the Philadelphia, bombing, the Rodney King riots, and, many more things. They just knock on the door. They kicking doors down, throwing flashbangs, drones already in the house before the people can leave. That's violence against thy brother Jacob. And it's been exposed. And that's why it says shame shall cover thee. When you expose, you covered in shame. Because you didn't think nobody knew or nobody was going to find out. So the white man is now being covered with shame. Everything that's on the internet is speaking out against the so-called white man. The powers that be. So again, for violence against thy brother Jacob. And we've been seeing that a lot. The accuser of our brethren is cast down. Thou shalt slander thy own mother's son. So they slandering their brother. They got violence against their brother. And those other two, such as the accuser of our brethren being cast down, those that would slander thy own brother, it doesn't say Jacob and Esau, but those are the two brothers who are the main characters in the scripture. And we see them by name here. Verse 1. Let's go there. The vision of Obadiah, thus says the Lord concerning Edom. And now when we go down to verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob. So when we see this term brother in the scriptures, you do this against your brother. If it's not talking about Israelite on Israelite, it's Israelite against Edomite. Because going back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, the white man is our twin brother, the so-called white man who was Esau. So for violence against his brother Jacob, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, shame is covering thee, and doubt shall be cut off forever. So for shame to be covered you got to be exposed. It's a 3-part prophecy. First, Esau, the white man, will have violence against his brother Jacob. That's been going on since the ancient world, and more notably the past 600 years. So the violence part has been fulfilled. What's the next part? Shame shall cover thee. We're in that shaming process now. Esau is on the stand, And we and the rest of the world is testifying against them. Now the white man is covered in shame. What's the next part? It's the judgment. Thou shalt be cut off forever. What does it mean to be cut off? To be no more. They're going to be wiped out from existence. There would be no white people left on the planet. So they have violence against his brother Jacob. They would be exposed and covered in shame, and then the Lord will cut them off forever. And we seeing why the Lord is going to cut these people off. People will say, "Oh, white people ain't bad. The white man ain't that bad. They changed. Things are different. Things ain't changed. Things ain't different. If anything, they worse now than they was in the 60s and the 70s. That's going to be made perfectly clear through Jacob's trouble when the white man try to come exterminate us. And once you see the white men exterminate us, then you gonna be like, dang, ain't no good white people. These white people really ain't jack. So the Lord gonna exterminate them for them trying to exterminate us. This is the build up to that. They gotta demonize us first. They demonizing various, so-called color group organizations. They demonizing the Hebrew Israelite groups that's teaching. They're trying to affiliate us with Russia, China, the Middle East, but they got to do that to justify them trying to come exterminate us. But the Lord is going to exterminate them in the process by the hand of his people. All right, we're going to get that. I think that's Ezekiel 25 and 12. And then we're gonna finish off there. Or it might be 14. All right. I'm trying to move this over, son. Forgive me. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom. The Lord will lay his vengeance on the white man, on the white race, by the hand of my people Israel. So the Lord's going to lay his vengeance on the white man by his people, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury. So what we're going to do to the white man ain't according to our own anger. It's according to the Lord's anger and to his fury. We mad, but we can't imagine how furious the Lord is. That's something out of this world that we can't comprehend. And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord YAHAWASHI. So when the Lord raises us up to exterminate the so-called white man, they're going to know that that's the anger of the Lord. And but we're going to close it off here. Until next time, Shalom. Let's give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI, Waha, Wakakadash.